Hi everyone, this is Mike Simmons. I'm a yearbook advisor at Tesserae Yearbook at Corning Painted Post High School in upstate New York and the host of the Yearbook Whys podcast. This is a screencast. Maybe we'll put it under the Yearbook Whys banner, but I had some questions about how my staff and I make use of spreadsheets to track work and progress and to stay organized. And I wanted to give you a little bit of like yearbook spreadsheet 101 to give you a peek behind the scenes of how we do what we do with Tesserae. The things that I'm going to show you are intermediate, I think, level skills in spreadsheets. If you're brand new to Google Sheets or Excel, and I far and away prefer Google Sheets, then this might be a steeper learning curve for you. If you've got some baseline on spreadsheets already, then you'll probably take to it really quickly. And my hope is that I can take you along for the ride. I'll try to keep it as linear as possible. I'm not working from any notes. What I'd like to do first is give you a little look at what this sheet is all about up on screen, and then I'm going to show you how to make one similar to it, or how to kind of set out down this path and help you understand that what works for me and my staff is definitely not going to be what works for you and your staff. I want to equip you with the skills that you can use to customize a tool like this for yourself, recognizing that your needs are fundamentally different than ours. Just because our staffs are different and our situations are different. This is our ladder. We run one of these each year. We'll have, you can see down at the bottom, we have master ladder, ladder Z. This is an old one that we kind of dumped when things weren't working out the way we needed to. That's not at all uncommon. Here's original ladder over here on the far right. Not, again, uncommon for us to revise and evolve. And I like that. It's real easy to just come down to the bottom and hit duplicate on a tab there and leave kind of a paper trail of where you've been, so you can park stuff if you need to diverge and evolve for some reason. We've got, I'm not sure why this is like this. We'll go 2, 4, 6. So what we've got is a left-hand page. This sometimes says LHP. I think that got deleted at some point. Left-hand page, right-hand page. Normally, our spreadsheet would start, let's see, I'm going to hide these. Our spreadsheet might start early in the year, something like this. The page, the spread that it is, the team that it's assigned to, and the deadline that it's going out on. But this is a spreadsheet that you're seeing a little bit later in the year. I just hid those columns and have brought them back. So I'm going to talk you through kind of all of this. But recognize we start just with page numbers. Again, here in column E, the spread topic or the coverage. You can see here in this bright yellow, here we go, in this bright yellow cell right here, we're a chronological book this year. Kind of a hybrid chronological. We often had a week turn into 2 spreads and then interspersed sports and some feature spreads like this mood spread. You can see another mood spread, fear, down here. Also profile spreads you can see down here at row 21, Jason Case. So we have 4 openings, a title page. As we get down through the ladder, there was a feature, kind of hard news, kind of more focused journalism section that the kids did, kind of a current events thing, if you will. Our dividers are in the bright pink. Sometimes we highlight stuff just to draw attention to it, so I'm not going to interpret all of this for you. Our sports are kind of these gold. The mood spreads are the light red, and the feature profiles are these light blue. We get into where we insert our supplement midway through the book and our reference divider, and then our reference section is the back of the book. Just a personal soapbox, your portraits, your senior portraits, and all the rest do not belong at the front of the book. They're boring. They're boring, they're boring, they're boring. Get it to the end of the book where your fall or your group club photos can go, your sports, fall sports, winter sports, index. We've got a colophon, 2 closings, and then that single page. We call it kicker at Tesserae. That gives you just a little sense of our ladder. If you have questions about what you're seeing here, feel free to comment in. I'll share everything about our ladder and our approach. No secrets there at all. So we have these we'll do, and color code. Modes I can talk to just a little bit. Our kids used a lot of different flavors of types of coverage this year. So you can see as I highlight these traditional spreads. BHP is what our kids called a big honkin' photo. That was a different technique. Pictures and captions means no feature story, just a kind of hit of, a broad view of a week's worth of experience just in photos and captions. One profile, let's see, mods no dom, mods no dom, mods no dom. That was another feature package where there were there was no one dominant story. It was like 5 layers of stories, all the same. Always a dominant visual element, a dominant picture, but no dominant story. Anyhow, that was just a thing that was about Tesserae this year. Column G, I could put up here to help you, I guess. That was our status. This was column H was our proof work order, WO, work order. These two we use later in the year, and we insert those columns. I'll show you how to do that. And then the team to which it's assigned and the deadline to which it's assigned. So you can get just kind of a sense here. And again, this is like, G, H, and D are needs that only Tesserae really had this year, certainly F as well. So please see for yourself the kind of the truth of this, the potential for your own needs, and my hope is that what I'm about to show you will help you customize for yourself. So in Google Drive, I'm going to go up to new Google Sheet, a blank sheet here, and we're off and running. I'm going to call this, once it loads, there we go. So first of all, I'm going to bump this up to 200% view so that you can see it a little bit more easily on the screencast, and we'll go the Yearbook Whys example ladder spreadsheets 101. So here's what we do first. Left-hand page, right-hand page, topic, team, deadline. Let's say that's the most basic kind of needs that I would have. Now, we start with a single right-hand page. So I can put 1. We know the next right-hand page is 3. The next right-hand page is 5. We skip this A2 cell right here. There's no 0 page. So then we come here for page 2, page 4, page 6, and I'll put in a 7 here. Why? Well, if you don't know spreadsheets very well, you can highlight these 3 cells and use this little magic triangle or magic square down at the corner, and you can drag down and it will autofill predictively and know exactly what you're trying to do. So right now we've got a 44-page book. I can grab these now and continue. And let's say if I drag down for a while, I've got a 168-page book. I'm not sure if signatures work on 168 pages, but let's pretend that they do. And we're going to come up one short. This right here would be your left-hand kicker, that singleton at the end of the book. So that's pretty cool. Autofill, that's the first kind of tip if you aren't familiar at all with autofill. You can see I'm changing these column widths. We only need them as big as they need to be. We're good to go. All right, so our first topic would probably be a title page, and this is where it's going to get like super customizable for each of you. I'll call this opening 1 and opening 2. Maybe we'll have a book with just 2 openings, and let's say we're doing an academic section first. So academics divider, and then I'll go into science, math, social studies. This is going to be like completely vanilla. English and Lit. Let's go tech and engineering. Oops. There we go. We'll go art. And I'll jump down to, we'll go music. I'm sure I'm going to offend somebody and leave somebody out. So just, we'll keep it in the family here. So those are my topics there. And then let's get into a sports divider. And then our fall sports, we'll go football, we'll go volleyball, we'll go girls tennis, boys, let's see, girls swim for us is in the fall. Wow, girls swim, there we go. Gymnastics, soccer, let's see, boys soccer, girls soccer. Cool, there we go. And then I'll get into, let's see, academics, so I'll go student life divider. So this is going to be a traditional book with academics, sports, student life, and clubs and groups. So here, let's do favorite foods in town. We'll do a fashion spread. We'll do an apps and technology spread. We'll do, let's see, we'll do a college plans spread. We'll do, let's do vacations, and we'll do a bucket list spread, something like that. All right, and we'll go on and on and on. All right, so a couple things. I will grab my dividers. I'm holding down Command on a Mac or Control on a Windows machine, come up to the fill, and this is where we start customizing and making sure that like maybe all of our theme pages that would have theme content or kind of feature spreads would be in that gold. You know, things like that. We start dealing with. If it's important to you, you can grab a whole column at a time, Command or Control click on the column headers, and you know, maybe I come up here and I'll center the page numbers, something like that. There's all sorts of options and flexibility here. Maybe for my headers up top here, maybe I want to go bold, make them bigger, and maybe I want to center those as well. Maybe I want to backfill my headers and make it all nice and pretty. There's all sorts of things you can do, and those might be options that you want. Now, we work on a system of teams at Tesserae. We have 2 periods a day. I've got about 48 kids on staff. So I've got my 6th period crew is my red, orange, and yellow coverage teams. 7th period crew is my blue, purple, and pink. Our business team is green because they bring in the green. I've also got my editors. I've also got reference. So I've got a large staff. You can make this work for you. What I'm going to do is show you how to make data validated pull downs that constrain what can happen in a given spread. So I've got D2 selected. You can see me scrolling down here. I'm going to come down to D86. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click all the way through. And you can see I've got that whole range now selected. What I'm going to do is go to Data up here, go to Data Validation. And right here on Criteria, I want a list of items. You can see here it's saying enter items separated by a comma. So what I'm going to do is give all of my potential teams in here so that I can pull down on the D column, and as my editors are setting up this spreadsheet, constrain the choices for the team. So I'm going to go red, comma, ORG for orange, YELL, blue, perp, pink, ref for my reference kids, eds for my editors, or biz for my biz team. And I know I said that they're green, but just go with it. And then I hit save. And you can see what happens here is I get this pull down. And so now when I click away, if I need to say, okay, the football spread here on row 14, the football spread is being done by the red team, I can put in red. Red team also has favorite foods, and social studies is also red there. Pretty cool. So then I can say, you know, my orange team is going to be doing that, my pink team is going to be doing that, my blue team is going to be doing that, my pink team's also going to be doing fashion, and vacations is also going to be blue, and just go from there. All right. We're going to do the same thing with our deadline. If we operate on 5 deadlines, I'm going to click up at E2 and scroll down to the bottom, hold down Shift, click down on E86 to select that range. I go back to Data, Data Validation, List of Items, and here's what I'm going to call. I'm going to go D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. We have 5 deadlines, and I hit OK. And you can see I've got my drop down there as well. And now I can say that orange is assigned to science for deadline 1, red is assigned to social studies for deadline 1, pink is assigned to English and literature for deadline 1, blue picks up tennis for deadline 1, but red's going to get football for deadline 2, and red's also going to get favorite foods for deadline 2. Blue, we'll give them a deadline 2 assignment there as well. And I'm just going to keep on, there's a couple things that I want to show you progressively here. So permit me just a couple more clicks to populate this because I want to show you some of the options that we've got with what's next. So cool. Well, this is all very plain. White fields with black type. Now, how do we make it more highly visual? What we're going to do is use a tool called conditional formatting. And again, you saw I clicked up at D2, scrolling down again. I'm going to hold down Shift and click through D86, select that whole range, and I'm going to go not to data, but to format this time. I'm going to go to conditional formatting right here. And just off screen, here we go, I'm going to bring that in for you. On the right-hand side, I've got my conditional formatting rules. Now, you can see right now it's saying for D2 through D86, format the cells if the cell is not empty, and do what? Well, make it this pale green. Well, if the cell is not empty, I've got, these colored teams, or team 1, team 2. I've had friends call them, fonts, like you've got the Helvetica team, the Comic Sans team. Comic Sans is never an okay choice, by the way. At any rate, I want to format these cells if the text is exactly what? Well, text is exactly, let's start with red, because I know I've got, look at that, I've got some reds in here. Now, it would be kind of sensible to make the fill color for red. Let's go bold. And that dark, well, not dark black, the black against the red, is maybe harder to see. So for the type, I can come right in here on text color. I'm going to make that white, maybe, just so it pops a little bit. Well, that's cool. I'm good with that. But while I've still got this range selected down here, I'm going to add another rule because I've got all these other coverage teams. Now look at this. Format cells, same range right here. Format cells if text is exactly, well, orange. ORG was next. And I come into orange. I'll add another rule. Format if it is exactly yellow. Go to yellow. Okay, now white and yellow, that's no good. So my text color there, let's bring that back over to black. There we go. We're down here at D24, you can see. Great. Add another rule. Go to blue. And I'll go to blue, and let's give this some white text for contrast. Great. Add, I got to change this. My purple abbreviation is PERP. So I'm going to go to purple here, and I like the white on that. You can see it right here at D21. That looks great. And I'm going to pick up a pink, kind of a pink magenta here. I'm fine with that one. I've also, though, whoops. I think I made a mistake there. I'm going to go back and edit that one. I did not make that one say pink. You can see because pink is still white down here. I'm going to show you how to go back and edit a rule because that'll be helpful if you ever make a mistake. That's my one for the day. Let's go to reference. Sometimes we make them our gray team on our staff, and I'll make the text black. And I made the text ref. That's good. Add another rule. My last one was eds, and they tend to be our black team. Black on black is not a good look, so let me make that white text. And I hit done. And you can see right here, now I've got a full rack of color and conditional format rules. Now, you can see as I'm engaged with that range and in the conditional formatting tab here, that reveals the rules I've already established. And right here, text is perp, gets perp, text is perp, gets pink. I've got a problem, so I can click on this one and edit the text to pink, and boom, right there at D23, I am good to go. Now, when I click away from that highlighted range, you're going to see I lose my conditional format rules. But if I come back here, you can see Google Sheets intuitively knows that I am in a range where there's already text formatting applied, and I might want to continue that. All right, very good. Let's have a go just briefly at deadline. We've got 5 deadlines. I'm going to go through this very quickly, but it's the same skill. I clicked on E2, scrolled down to E86, hit Shift, so now I've got my range selected. Here I am. We're going to add a rule. Format cells if, same thing. Text is exactly what? D1. And I don't think, let's actually do an experiment. Do capitals matter? D1. Looks like capitals do not matter. So that's a good little thing for you guys to know. I use these vibrant colors on the teams. I'm going to use more kind of like muted, I don't know, earthy tones on the other stuff so that we don't get any confusion going on. So D1, I'm going to go kind of this deep green. Maybe that's a little too deep. There we go. D1 there. Add another rule. D2. Going to make that kind of a deeper blue. Love that. D3. You can see how quickly this goes once you get into the patterns and routines. D3 checks. Changing my text each time. Now we're going to apply to D4, kind of get this earthy gold, add another rule. Final deadline in the series is D5, and let's pull in, I don't know, let's get after this red over here, kind of, and we're done there. Now check this out. If I go D5, 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 D4, D4. You can see we've got all sorts of good stuff going on with color coding. All right. Now, what can we do with this content? I'm going to take you right into the deep end here and we're going to talk a little bit about filters. And let's make sure this should work. This is where I put my kids, my students in charge. But we want to make this spreadsheet useful. And as an aside, I want to note, I know some of you might be at schools that use school newspapers online, or SNO, we call it SNO. You might be familiar with Snow Flow. You might, from Walsworth, Jostens, Herff Jones, Balfour, Friesians, have a ladder organizer that they provide, any of the companies, Tree Ring, LifeTouch, provide through their online portal. I have seen those. I respect those. This is what works for us. I like more customization, as you can probably intuit by this point. We want maximum flexibility, and I think there's something powerful too for us as advisors to equip our students with these tools. Spreadsheets, they're going to have access to them their whole life, but they're not going to have access to like the LifeTouch or Herff Jones ladder maker down the road. So to help them generalize a skill set into a platform they'll have for the rest of their lives, they could use these skills on conditional formatting and pull downs for data tracking in junior bio 302 at college, and I think that that's valuable. So I would really encourage you to think about these opportunities. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to click on the row header of row 1, and I'm going to engage filters, this little funnel right here over past the chart wizard. I'm going to turn on filters, and you can see my view change a little bit. Everything kind of got highlighty, and I've got these little downward facing arrows in my header row, row 1. And Google Sheets knows, hey, row 1 is a little special. It tends to be where people put their headers, and we're going to keep those static, but we want to work the data a little bit. Now check this out. What if the question in the lab today was, hey, what's on Orange Team's assignments right now? Well, by hitting 1 and turning on filters, now I can come into this filter icon and I can say, I'm going to clear all these check marks, and I want to select just orange. Show me just orange. I hit OK. Well, look at that. And my spreadsheet's not gone. It's still there. I've got row 1, row 6, and row 19. To clear that out, I go to the funnel, click on Select All to turn everything back on. It's an important thing to remember. If you're like, where's my spreadsheet? Select All right there, hit OK, and we're back. All right. But what if I wanted to see, what's going on with red, and how you can see this alphabetize this. So R is down below, not the end of the world. Hit OK, and red's got, interesting, red's got 4 spreads. Well, check this out. We can cross-reference. What if this was a much more significant ladder? What if this had red's assignments for the whole year and was like 20 spreads, 20 rows tall, or something like that? Maybe these are assigned to, two students, Jimmy and Maria, or something like that. So this says Jimmy, Maria, all the way down. Well, I want to see just what they've got on deadline 1. Now, I've just made this ladder in front of you, and obviously it's easy to see deadline 1 here. But again, imagine greater information density. Imagine this is racked with 20 spreads, and you just want deadline 1 to jump out at you. Well, I've filtered on column D. I can also filter on column E. So I'm going to unclick deadline 2 here. I've got deadline 1, and look at that. I've got a double sort. Now, why and how is this useful? Listen, I grab, click and hold. Sorry, I want to come down here, click and hold, and highlight these cells. I clicked down here at E87 and dragged up to A1. I hit Command or Control P, and look here. Now I can print this and hand that out in class. I say, hey, Red, here's your assignments for deadline 1. I'm not a huge printing guy, but we absolutely use these filters to sort throughout the year. I'm going to jump back over to my own ladder and show you what that might look like. So here we are. What if I needed to see everything that was back to us on work order 1 proofs? Here it is. All right. Now red jumps out at you fairly easily. You can see that. But what if I wanted work order 1 and work order 6? I engage in both. There we go. Okay. Well, what if I needed work order 1 and 6, but only the yellow team and only the editors? All right, here we go. Now I grab this, hit Command or Control P, and now if I go to current sheet, I go to selected cells, go to landscape, boom. That's something that, that's easily printable. I can hand that out to some of my team or staff leaders, but filtering and sorting that data is super, super, super helpful. We do it all the time. Come back in here, select all, come back in here. I think I can also, I'm going to leave that sorted, and if I click up here, I think I can just turn off filters. Yeah, if I turn off filters, I get back to my full sheet. Again, to turn them back on, I go to my one row, click on the funnel, and that's telling Google, hey, I want to work this data a little bit. Let me go. A couple other efficiencies. Let's go back to our example ladder, and I'm going to turn off filters here. Let's imagine that we go down here. We're going to go to reference divider. Now for us, I don't believe in senior worship at all. I think a lot of your books with senior wills and senior this and senior that and senior quotes and senior blah, 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 way too much senior. But I will say we give them a slightly bigger portrait and they go first in the portrait section. So what if I go to seniors here and I go to seniors here and then I hit enter and I type seniors here, and it's just like monotonous. Well, let's say I need 8 spreads of seniors. I can just highlight that range. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, boom. And then I need juniors. They're smaller portraits, so I only need 5 of those. I can hit juniors, click and hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I go sophomores, same deal. Now the other thing I can do is can hit Command or Control C and highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit Command or Control V and paste that right in. I like the drag down a little bit better. I can go freshman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ours tends to be fac staff last, and those tend to be smaller numbers. And there we go. So now, what does this look like? Well, that's our reference section. So guess what? That's our reference editors. Now, instead of pulling this down like 37 times, check this out. I can just grab this and stripe it all the way down. Boom, reference. And guess what? Juniors and everything else, those are going out on deadline 3 once we have the portraits back. So I grab that little helping. Oh, don't do that. That's a good one. Okay, so check this out. So Google said, hey, you're starting at 3. That probably means you want 4, 5, 6, right? Well, no, wrong. So what I have to do in this case is give it 2 instances of the same thing. And please work. This should work. There we go, D3. Again, 2 instances. So here's seniors. Let's say that goes out on deadline 4 because the portraits take a while to collect. Pull down, we knew that was going to happen. So again, what I do, oh, this is cool too. This little notation is saying I've got invalid data here because the D6 is not part of my data validation list. So this is a good little warning that something is in error. Watch for that if you're using data validation. Go to deadline 4, highlight both, click and hold the autofill corner, drag it down, deadline 4, there we go. Well, what's deadline 4 look like? Let's scroll back up to the top. Going to click on row 1, turn on my filters, go to deadline, clear them all, click on deadline 4. How robust is deadline 4? That's in pretty good balance. Oh my gosh, deadline 4 is right around the corner. We haven't assigned the art spread. All right, well, let's give it to the blue team and let's give it to the purple team. Well, what's their overall look like? How's their whole flow? I'm going to go into teams and let me look at, I just clicked on clear, let me look at just purple. Is everything in balance? Oh, good, they only have 2 spreads. This is the conversation in my lab a lot. We'll go through and say, how much work does red have to do over the course of the book? If we compare red to blue, red and blue, that looks in balance. Let's go blue, not red. Yeah, that's pretty all right there. But we'll have these conversations. We'll also do exactly what I was doing on the other sheet, saying, is blue overloaded on one deadline and sparse on another? How can we negotiate that and keep things, a little bit more sane? All right. So I said that we add columns. D, F, and G came in, H came in later in the year as well. Let me just show you how you could do that real fast. Go up here, turn off our filter. So now, column F, I'm going to take deadline and bring it over because I like that formatting. Proof work order, where is it on the proof? So I'm going to highlight the first, come down to the bottom, click shift and come down to get that whole range. Go to data, validation, list of items, and let's say I get work order 1, work order 2, work order 3, work order for work order 5. Can drop that right in, and just for kicks, conditionally format that. Text is exactly, and it's the same game, guys. Once we have this skill set, I show this to my students, once or twice, and then they're off and running. I'm going to make these real dark. Add another rule, work order 2. Go down to the bottom rack here. Again, I want something a little bit more contrast. Turn it white, and so on. And I would develop those rules the same way, and you'll be able to see if I scroll back up to the top, go to work order 1, it's already conditionally formatted, and I'm off and running. That color coding, I'm a highly visual person. That really helps me a great deal. Well, what if we need another column over here? Well, take C, insert, column to the left, and that was Dropbox access. With the coronavirus school shutdown, we had a situation where we pulled our server. I'm changing these back over to white. You can hit reset or white. We had a situation where I had to rescue the server from my lab and bring it home, and threw a bunch of files on Dropbox. Wanted to make sure that my kids weren't stepping on each other's toes, such that with this as a shared worksheet or spreadsheet, they were able to come in, and Kristen, my EIC, was able to say, hey, I'm in 4.5, and Olivia was able to say, hey, I'm in 16.17. We are an InDesign school, and so that would prevent them from stepping on each other's toes or being in the same file at the same time from Dropbox. So here's how we approach that. Come into, once again, data validation, list of items. It was real simple. Kristen, Liz, Mia, Olivia, Simmons, boom, and there we go. And on this one, we shouldn't have unhighlighted. On this one, we did a very simple not data validation. Cancel that. We did a very simple conditional of if it is not empty, make it bright yellow. Why? Because it would allow them to, I have 5, 6, sometimes 40 kids in a spreadsheet at a time. They come in, and Kristen's signed in there, and Olivia's signed there, and I'm in those 3 spreads. That becomes a real easy visual cue to let us know that somebody was in that spread and doing something with it, editing it, and to stay out of it. Now, how do we get rid of this when it's gone? Well, if I hit delete here, you'll see it clears it. It doesn't clear the data validation. The list is still there for pull down, but it does get rid of the conditional formatting, so we lose that visual cue, which is great. We don't want our attention drawn to it. We're in good shape there. Now, you can see up here, this is clipping the cell Dropbox access. I can take it down to an 8, but even at that, we still got a problem. You can go right here, formatting, text wrapping, wrap, and now it moves it to 2 lines. We're good to go there. Let me go back and take a look. Let's see. So we've done this Dropbox. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. This guy right here, this N1, take a look at this formula up here. This is definitely more advanced. This is saying count if in the G range, count if the word there, the value is final, and if it says final, then divide that by 176. Why? Because we have 176 spreads in our 348-page book. Comes all the way down here. This ZZ is an insert photo essay that was part of our work as well. So again, why this? Because I wanted a counter that motivated us to see how much of the book was done. So when we've shipped it to final, we start counting up. Let me show you how I would do that real quick. If this works for you, that's great. First thing we're going to have to do is bring over G1. We'll make this a status box. And once again, we're going to go to data validation and conditionally formatting. You can see this is it's like the same recipe on everything. Let's see, what could we call these? We could call these, we'll say working, draft, edited, proofed, final. Let's go for that. All right, hit save, and just for kicks and grins, we're going to conditionally format that, and I'm going to text is exactly, and we're just going to play with the final one. Green means go, green makes me happy. I'm going to make it bold. We'll make it italic. Why not? And we'll hit done. All right, so just one rule in there right now. You can you can play with that the rest of the way yourself. Now, what this requires is for me to go in and put some spreads to final. Now, what I'm going to do right here is code this formula, and perhaps let me scroll over a little bit. Maybe I'll put it over here, and I'll say percent done, and that will report out over into this K1 cell. Now, you're going to see a formula bar here. If you are not Spreadsheet, I really haven't done anything with formulas and functions in here at all, but I'm going to use the countif function, which means it's a pre-designed formula that Google Sheets knows how to work. And let me break it down for you here in N1. Countif in the range G2 through G190. If it says final, count that, and then divide that by 176, because that's going to give us our total number of spreads, and it's going to turn it into a percentage. So here I'm going to type in, let's try this, equals countif, and I go parentheses. Now I want this H range from H2 down through H86. And I'm going to put in the dollar signs. That's a little bit slightly more advanced. It means do this absolutely, do this all the time. And I don't know, tune into another podcast down the road for that. If in that range you get the text final. Now text in spreadsheets needs to be in quotation marks, so I'm going to put in the text final. If you get final, then count that. And you can see already it's reporting out right here, reporting out 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. Now, we're not done because I've got to look at how many spreads that I've got. Now, row 1 doesn't have anything to do with it because that's our header row. So we start our spreads on page 2, or on row 2, excuse me, on row 2. And we go down through row 86 on this make-believe book that is going to be 168 pages. So anyhow, I come right here, divide it by 86. And you can see what I get here is this 0.05. Well, that's okay. Just hit enter or return. We scroll up. That's no problem. Now, why is that funky? Because we need to turn it into a percentage, which you can do right here with this percent formatting. And right now, my friends, our book is just almost 6% done. And you know what else is done? This video. I hope you and yours are healthy and well. I hope you're washing your hands. I hope that you found this useful. If you made it all the way, I don't even know how long this thing has been. I'm about to find out when I render it. But if you've made it all the way through, then I hope you're able to use some of these skills with your editors and on in your home lab, be it now, next year, maybe prep one over the summer, what have you. As ever, if you are or aren't to this point podcast listeners, you can find the Yearbook Whys podcast anywhere you download your podcasts: Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, iTunes, Google Play. We are, I think, 45 or so episodes in. I'm really proud of the last 5 that I've done. I didn't know it with the first 2, but certainly with the previous or the final 3 of this 5 episode run in season 3. There's been a lot there that helps us get our heads into yearbooking in the age of coronavirus. So I would encourage you to take a look. It's at Yearbook Whys, WHYS on Twitter, and you can always reach out to me in the Yearbook Facebook groups or at iteachyearbook@gmail.com. Be great to hear from you. For now, be well. Good luck. We'll talk soon. Wash your hands.